imagine bouncing a ball, you probably don't associate its bounce with the hooves of a moving horse. But what if I told you that this analogy is the perfect way to understand how the equine hoof is influenced by ground reaction forces? Ground reaction force, or GRF, is a result of the third law of motion when forces equal in magnitude and opposite in direction act on the hoof as it hits the ground during the stance phase of the stride. To fully understand how the hoof is affected, it's important to first understand its marvelous anatomy and physiology. The distal limb of the horse consists of the proximal phalanx, or P1, the middle phalanx, or P2, the distal phalanx, or P3, and the navicular bone. Here we have the common digital extensor tendon, the superficial digital flexor tendon, and the deep digital flexor tendon. These tendons work together with supporting ligaments to move the hoof through space. To support the framework of the distal limb, there must be some sort of soft tissue present, like the muscles and fascia in our feet. To support P3, there is the primarily fibrocartilaginous digital cushion. Supporting the sides of both P3 and the digital cushion is the ungular cartilages. The hoof wall is made up of layers. First, the sublamellar dermis, which contains collagen bundles that allow for an elastic connection between bone and hoof wall. Then the dermis and epidermis. In these two layers are highly vascular tendrils of tissue called lamina. These interlock into each other like Velcro, keeping the whole hoof together. Encapsulating all of that is the horn, made of hard keratin that grows in tubules down from the coronary band and out from the lamina of the coffin bone. Interspersed within the digital cushion, ungular cartilages, and lamina are countless vascular channels. In lieu of muscles in the distal limb, the healthy contraction and expansion of the hoof pumps blood instead. This is referred to as the hemodynamic system, and it is integral for the health and proper growth of the hoof. Just as a ball deforms when it hits the ground to dissipate shock, so does the hoof, but with a bit more complexity. Due to the amazing intricacy of the internal structures of the hoof, scientists have produced multiple theories about how the hemodynamic and shock absorption mechanisms work. It has been observed to be mostly the soft tissue and hoof wall doing the work. When the leg extends forward, a healthy hoof will land either flat or slightly heel first. This engages the internal supportive tissues and the elastic connection between the hoof wall and P3 all at once. As the bones depress into the capsule slightly, the sole dermis compresses, the digital cushion compresses, and the ungular cartilages displace outwardly to account for the movement of P2. The collagen bundles and lamellar regions of the hoof wall allow it to deform slightly, absorbing the shock. Around 67% of the vibrations that occur on impact are dissipated by the lamellar region. Most of the remaining shock goes up the limb and into the body. The hoof allows for this amount to become more manageable for the rest of the locomotive structures. Extreme distortions or weak internal structures often come with pain. Both internal and external factors may be causes of capsule distortions, but either way the GRF will likely worsen them if the cause goes unaddressed. Consistent dysfunction puts extra strain on the tendons and does not allow for proper engagement of the shock-absorbing or hemodynamic systems. Any lameness is offloaded from the affected limb to the others in an attempt to compensate, which increases the GRF in those limbs. Repetitive forces on painful, distorted hooves causes dysfunctional bodies. Because ground reaction forces are always present, the health and functionality of the hooves must always be considered when addressing pain in our equine friends.